Hi guys, and welcome back to Coffee and EdTech Break. Today on episode 5 we're going to have a look at some of the newest developments within ViewSonic. So we're going to look at the myViewboard virtual classroom. I'm very lucky to be joined today by Matt Smith, who is our EdTech Product Manager for ViewSonic Europe, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about some of our latest developments. Grab your coffee, take your break and enjoy. Hi Matt, so I'm very lucky to be joined by Matt Smith, who is the EdTech Product Manager for ViewSonic Europe. Thanks for joining us, Matt. Have you got your brew?
I have indeed, mate. I got my ViewSonic mug as well.
Nice, good little bit of product placement. We love to see that on this channel, of course. So obviously the last couple of weeks we've had some great guests, but it'd be really good to get a little bit of an idea into the developmental side of some of the stuff that's coming out of ViewSonic at the moment. So obviously recently we've talked about asynchronous and synchronous learning, so how we can stream, record lessons, we can conference and then have the lessons embedded. You've got something new to show us today, I believe, Matt.
Yeah, so we've been developing a lot around distance learning. Obviously with the current situation with school closures, there's been a big shift obviously to online learning. So yeah, we've got a new product called Virtual Classroom, which basically provides video conferencing features into a digital whiteboard that you can use fully online on the web browser. And it's also suitable for the younger children as well. So where things like your standard video conferencing might be more sort of suitable for the older kids and maybe a little bit more complex, what we tried to do is really limit down the requirements to actually just make it so you can have a live classroom scenario, and that's what we call virtual classroom. So we can show you a little bit about that as well. So I've got a little video that I can show you that shows a sort of a personal tutoring scenario where you've got a child working on some maths sums, and then you've got the tutor on video able to actually speak directly to that student as they work live on the actual canvas together. And then we can maybe have a look at the actual product and do a bit of a demonstration.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a bit of that later on. Brilliant. So if you want to share your screen with me now, if you can, please, and let's have a look at this example.
Okay, I'm sharing that now. So let me know once that's loaded for you.
So we've got that. So you're going to talk over this and describe it to us, what's going on.
Yeah, so in this scenario, I am basically on my computer as I am now, and you can see I've got my camera there in the top left-hand corner. That's the basically teacher's video screen. So the student can see the teacher, they can hear the teacher, and what I can do is actually do my my guidance, my tutoring over the internet, and my student can actually see me and interact. So there's a little button there that you might see with the green hands. That allows us to have a two-way conversation, so I can hear my student and talk just like I would do on a conference call like we're doing now.
Yeah, so it's like a hands-up feature almost.
Yeah, it's like a hand raise feature that we've added in. And as you can see on the whiteboard, it's actually real time. So as she actually adds her annotations, this is actually something that's happening in real time, and I can actually also add mine as well in a live scenario. So this is an example of synchronous learning where the learning's happening in real time in a live scenario.
Super. So you've got the assessment straight away. As soon as your pupil is writing, you can basically assess it immediately.
Exactly,
as if
yeah.
you're there in a classroom.
So what the idea is with this is you can also add this to multiple students. That's an example with one student there that you can see in there, but that could be multiple students in different groups with different worksheets. So yeah, we can maybe go through some of that and you can see how that would look from maybe the sort of product perspective.
Yeah, so that's one thing that we're going to cover in the little demo that we're going to show you now. Obviously, differentiation's a big thing. We've got 10.5 almost million pupils in the UK who are not at school. So at the end of the day, these pupils aren't all at the same levels. So it's important to be able to differentiate learning, have pupils sort of appropriately at their correct level of learning. So we're going to show you that now. Okay, so what I can do with Virtual Classroom is I can host a lesson and I can have several pupils all taking part with it synchronously. So for example, at the moment, as you can see along the left hand side, I've sent my link out, so all I have to do is go to this top bar here, find using the QR code, the code there, or actually the link. I can send it out to my students and they can join. So at the moment we've got Matt, we've got Steve and we've got Mark who are going to be demoing with us. Now the nicest thing about this software is it allows you to differentiate really, really easily. So as you can see here, at my page here, I've got the digestive system. That's our topic for today. So I can have my teaching together on a slide that everybody can see. If I want, I can change the view from this one, the teacher present mode, to the huddle mode. So within the huddle mode, what that will allow me to do is actually access different boards, and each pupil will see a different thing. So for example, if we've got some pupils who are in a slightly higher level, they will do a slightly higher level of work. I can then set another board with a slightly lower level of work. So for example, if I want, I can change over to my huddle mode. So at the bottom here I'm on my student view, but actually I can switch over to where they're in the huddles. Matt is our higher level learner. So we've got Matt looking at ViewBoard 1, and we've got Mark and Steve looking at ViewBoard number 2. So for the time being, what I can do is hit that so that we're all seeing the same thing entirely. And then as soon as I flick that over to the huddle mode, these guys will be able to see the screen relevant to them. So Matt will be looking at screen number 1, Mark and Steve will be looking at screen number 2. Now within this, what I can actually do as well is allow them to interact. So for example, first and foremost, Matt, if he is ready, can actually click a button that will allow him to virtually put his hands up, which will allow him to speak to me. So if Matt does that now in a second, I will be able to see him putting that hand up. So as you can see there, that yellow icon where it's flashing is Matt putting his hand up. As soon as I click that, I can ask him to speak, or if I want, I can mute or unmute him. If I ask him to speak, Matt should now be able to speak to me. So Matt, can you hear me okay?
Hey Louis, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
Okay, not bad. So I'm in huddle 1, is that correct?
Yeah, huddle 1 is exactly the thing that I would like you to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you now to get on with that activity. So in huddle 1, what you are going to do is you're going to label all those 4 organs to the diagram, while Mark and Steve do those things differently. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to hit that button here, which basically allows me to let you write. So once I've selected that, you are now able to annotate. So once you can do that, if you click on the pen on yours, you'll be able to start labeling the things.
Join up from the labels and just join.
Yeah, so if you want to draw from the small intestine and draw that to the large intestine, etc. Let me know if you have any issues with that. So as you can see, I'm currently watching Matt, and at the moment Matt can only see this particular screen, but he's doing a really good job of matching the small intestine to the large intestine, etc. So it does give you a really nice live real-time feed of that teaching. On the other hand, if we then flick over and want to look at ViewBoard 2, where we've got Mark and Steve, they've got a slightly different piece of work to do. So at the moment, if I can get Mark and Steve to also do it, so again, I need to enable them to get involved. So what I'm now allowing is Mark and Steve to also write. So they can write in different colours if they would like. And basically what they're going to do is a very similar task, but a slightly differentiated version to enable them to access it if they're not quite on the same level as Matt. So Mark and Steve. So excellent. So we've got somebody already labelling the small intestine. And if we can get Steve, if possible, to do it in a different colour, that would be really useful. If he wants to finish off by doing the large intestine and the stomach, that will enable us to have our lesson. So as you can see now, Mark has done it in green, Steve has done it in blue, and what that's basically enabled me to do is have a really nice synchronous experience in which not only am I teaching with a webcam and a voice and everything, the pupils can also interact with me so I can get that instant feedback and be able to assess the work appropriately. Brilliant, Mark. Thanks very much for taking the time. I really appreciate you coming to join us. Obviously, it's good to get some developmental perspective from this industry as well. There's obviously some amazing new innovation that's sort of cropped up as a result of all this going on with the coronavirus crisis. So thanks again. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
No worries, mate. Thank you very much. For those of you that want to try out myViewboard Virtual Classroom, we have it as early access at the moment. So I'm just going to put it up on the screen now. But basically, all you need to do is to log into the normal myviewboard.com account. If you don't have one, you can create one. It's really, really easy. And as soon as you log in, there's a button here which will allow you to click on and have a little play around with the early access software. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll be back the same time next week, which will be Tuesday the 26th of May at 2 p.m. Keep well, keep safe, and have a great week, guys.